Another Marvel series has come and gone as Secret Invasion Episode 6 premiered tonight, and it was the finale for this brand new mini-series. No end credits scene, but you know what we will be talking about is every awesome sequence throughout this episode. Hi guys, my name is Zach. Thank you so much for clicking on this. This is my Secret Invasion Episode 6, or just in general, the series finale for Secret Invasion. This will be a full spoiler review. We're not going to recap every little moment, but we're going to talk about each and every particular character and my thoughts on all the choices that this show has made. Now, as a point of reference, the first two episodes I loved. 3 and 4, 3 was good. 4 really started to deter me, and I still really do not like the choice that Talos was killed off. Specifically in the manner that he was. He went out in a very weak way, and episode 4 for me was the lackiest of all this, which actually really threw me off. Like, I was done with the show at that point. And then episode 5 comes back in, and episode 5 kind of saviored everything. Again, rushed by certain characters making choices that I didn't think they would make. And now we are here with episode 6, which, getting my issues out of the way, it's rushed in execution once again. A 33-minute episode, including credits, that's a joke. This show, the first 2 episodes were great because they had an hour runtime. And they could truly feel and take its time and marinate with the characters, with the situations. And it's really felt like they were just rushing to the finish line by the last few of these episodes. And that has been one of my biggest criticisms with almost every single one of these Marvel series. Okay, fine, you want to do the 30 episode? That's fine. Then give us more episodes per season. These 6 to 8 episode bullshit, it needs to be done. Rant, other than that, I actually really like all the other choices that they had made throughout this entire episode. And I actually think overall, one of the biggest things and one of the biggest pros that I can give this entire series is that it gave me a lot of questions, and by the very end, I felt pretty much satisfied. I had almost every answer answered, and I didn't leave the series going, oh, well, what about that? Well, what about that? I still have questions about certain things, of course, like how long was like Rhodey taken for? How long was Everett Ross taken for? Was that not him in Wakanda Forever? Was that not him in Black Panther? I have to imagine that some of these characters were taken like fairly soon. And if I were to guess, Everett Ross was probably taken pretty close after Wakanda Forever. And same goes for Rhodey. I would go as far as say Rhodey was probably taken either right after Civil War, or if I was really going with a guess, probably after Endgame. And I think the Falcon and Winter Soldier Rhodey we saw was probably the Skrull, and that's kind of where it fares into that. Which, for me, that would probably be the safest option, just because it seems like it was kind of obvious that something was wrong with this Rhodey. Endgame Rhodey still had the kind of thing that helped him stand up and move around and the mechanical legs. Whereas Falcon and Winter Soldier, that wasn't as apparent. So I'm going to go with saying that that's when he was taken. Let me know down below what your guys' thoughts are. And again, make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you enjoy this, because if you are also a Star Wars fan, we're going to be talking Ahsoka in a couple weeks. And I'm very excited. And of course, I always do movie reviews every single week on this channel. So there's a lot of great content, and I'm sure you guys are going to be in store for all of that. But continuing this episode, let's dive into each and every one of the characters. So first off, let's get Olivia Colman out of the way. I'm going to be honest, I think she was pretty much wasted throughout this entire show. I guess if I was going to another issue. Nothing wrong with her performance. She's an excellent actress. She's one of the best working out there. I liked her character. I thought she was a little badass, but they really didn't use her as much as I thought they were going to after episode 2. And this episode, nice. And she offers Gaia, and pretty much Gaia and her are going to be like the new Talos and Nick Fury for the Skrulls. And honestly, I don't really know how I feel about that personally, because where Gaia's storyline ended off, which we'll talk about, I thought it would have worked more for her to go up with Nick Fury, but whatever. That's not what they want to do. We'll talk more about that when we get to Gaia. Olivia Colman, little wasted, a lot of fun. Rhodey obviously was discovered that he was a Skrull, got popped in the head. Skrull is gone. Real Rhodey is coming back, which we'll probably see him next in Armor Wars, which is the singular movie that finally Don Cheadle is getting to don that suit in his own, and I'm very excited for that. I've heard a lot of good things behind the scenes with the development of that film and their choice to take it from a series to a movie. And leading into that as well, Priscilla and Nick Fury and their relationship. You know, at the heart of this, by episode 2, we kind of started to feel that there was a little bit more depth to this. And one of the biggest things that I wanted going into Secret Invasion was 2 things: an espionage thriller and Nick Fury getting a lot more development. I got 1.5 of those. I got a really decent espionage thriller for at least half of the series, but I did get development on Nick Fury, which makes me actually like Nick Fury now. And now looking back, when I go and watch Avengers or I go and watch any of the films that he's populated in, I'm going to have that background context of where he comes from. And I think deconstruction is a major portion of what Phase 4 and partially so far what we've seen in Phase 5 is for a lot of these characters in the MCU, from ones that we had fallen through 1 through 3. And I will always go with, I don't understand the criticism of people shitting on the MCU for deconstructing certain characters. And maybe the quality of the CGI can be a conversation, because I definitely think some of the CGI with the Skrull was not the best. But the thing that's always worked for me so well is these last phase and a half has really deconstructed our characters to make us like them a little bit more, specifically a lot of the smaller characters behind the scenes, as well as some of the characters who maybe are now getting the limelight, like Hawkeye. So I really liked how they were doing that, and I really love what they did with Nick Fury throughout this, and primarily that ending with him and Priscilla going up to Saber. I thought that was great, and I'm very excited to see what they end up doing with Nick Fury's character in the Marvels, which the Marvels looks really fun. I did not watch the new trailer because I'm trying to do my best to only watch one trailer for each and every Marvel film now. I've noticed that the second trailer always gives away too much. I really liked the first trailer. It was a lot of fun. I'm getting off on a tangent now. I'm excited to see what they do with Nick Fury next, because he was never going to Gravik. Gravik never even got to say goodbye to this, but I think we all expected this. Who was going to be able to go up against Gravik one-on-one, toe-to-toe? Well, it was the only other Super Skrull that we had gotten, and that was Gaia. I think the second we saw Gaia, or Nick Fury, show up there, I knew it was Gaia right away. And for me, we knew that Nick Fury had called someone, it was gonna be, ended up being her. And I'm happy for this, because I think Emilia Clarke killed this role. I loved what they did with her, and I can't wait to see more of her in the MCU. Now, I'm not as familiar with a lot of the Skrull stuff in the MCU comics, so please let me know if you know a lot about Gaia in the comics. I'm really curious to see if this was a new character, a character that they made up for just the series, or in general, if Gaia is a very important part of the comics, what is absolutely what this is going on and where they're pointing her at, kind of something they did in one of the comics. Let me know which issues to buy as well. I love hearing from you guys in the comments section. I keep saying that, but I really do. Gaia, for me though, the thing that I really liked about this is we all knew it was coming, and the second that ball went up and Gravik, got all of the Avengers, Carol Danvers, Thor Odinson, Cole Obsidian, he already had Groot. We saw Mantis in there. We saw the one dude who's kind of like Doctor Strange. We saw Thor. We saw Hulk. We saw all these different interpretations of different Marvel characters that we had experienced, and it was awesome when Gaia caught that punch. And I'm not gonna lie, it's like they literally went Super Saiyan. Like that fight scene, is it audacious? Sure. Is it kind of stupid? Sure. I can't disagree though that I didn't smile the entire time watching that fight. In fact, I rewinded the stream to see that fight again, because I thought that was just badass. Like, it was just so great. And it sucks that they killed Gravik off, because Kingsley Benadir is an amazing actor. But at the same time, Gravik needed to go. And it was great seeing Emilia Clarke, Gaia, being the one that takes him out, specifically because he was the one that killed off Talos. The second he killed off Talos, I knew Gaia was going to be the one that ends up with the punch. But now, primarily, I guess there's an argument to be made that Gaia is the strongest being in the entire MCU. And I think it's really cool how they're using her as a Super Skrull now, because when I do look at the comics, I've always been fascinated from the Super Skrulls, whether it was from some of the old school animated stuff, or in general just the comics with the Fantastic Four and when they develop with them. And I could not get enough of that fight scene. I'm still just little moments of it are playing through when they're shooting up in the sky, when she punches him. So it just felt really Dragon Ball-ish, and I think maybe that's why I'm like over the moon about it, but I really dug that. And leading into that, I mean, that's about it. There wasn't a lot more depth to it all. The president was saved, but then he gave a hateful speech towards the scroll, which now leaves some implications. Implications, that is not a word. It's really late for me here. It leaves some, I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point with that word, but it leaves a lot of heavy-handed stuff for the MCU, where people are now, like human citizens, are taking matters in their own effect, going in and killing people who they think are Skrulls, but then accidentally killing humans who aren't Skrulls. And also getting their shit wiped when they try to kill a Skrull. This militia type of affirmity kind of goes back to one of the rumors that said that Punisher, when he's coming back, is going to be going up against people who are like that. And I have to imagine I wouldn't be surprised if that kind of is a little bit of a tie-in into the Daredevil series and primarily the rumored Punisher series that we're also going to be getting soon. Not officially confirmed, but it is heavily rumored. Just a little bit of notice, maybe a little bit of things, but I think that maybe that's kind of where it goes. And it was the first thing that popped in my head is that, yeah, that's something that the Punisher is going to not deal with at all. But I really like how that kind of all played into it. I'm very curious to see what they do with the president, because I was pretty, like, 95% sure he was going to die in the series. He didn't. So now I'm a little bit more sure that he's going to die very soon in the MCU, but we will see. Not trying to get into spoilers for certain other projects coming up, just a guess from certain things that we've seen in the news outlets. But other than that, Secret Invasion, I think, was a fantastic series at the start. Kind of started to lose its momentum in the middle, but by the finale, I was won over. This entire series still has the same exact issues that every other Marvel series is pretty much having, which is just either rushed execution, lack of episodes, or lack of runtime. These episodes need to be longer. The runtime, again, like I mentioned, needs to be longer, but these seasons need to be longer if you're not going to do that, because you're losing a lot of depth from when you give us 2 brilliant first episodes and then just kind of falter into something that's like, okay. And I think some people will still walk away from this series being like, okay, that was fine. I didn't really change my mind at all. And I honestly kind of agree. By the time it had ended, it's pretty much probably going to be the same exact place that we've seen Nick Fury go up on the Saber. And they're probably barely going to mention what's going on until maybe a Gaia or an Olivia Colman shows up. But that's just me spewing out guesses. Secret Invasion, overall, I'm probably going to give the entire series a B. I thought it could have been better in the end, and I wish it kept the same momentum, but at least I got back on board with this. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. Make sure to look out for a lot more movie reviews and rankings coming up soon, and specifically that Ahsoka series. We're going to be reviewing every single episode. So excited for that. Thank you so much again, and of course, until next time, stay classy.